It's time for the Stock Car Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Powered by the staff at Race Chaser Online. Your motorsports, your way, every day. And now, here's your host, Tom Baker.
Welcome to another edition of the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport and My Computer Career. My name is Tom Baker, and we are broadcasting live tonight on location here at HMS Motorsport in Mooresville, North Carolina. I am joined at what is not a round table by Jacob Seelman to my left from Speed Sport News, Ali Boulay to my right, and we found a Kaz Grala.
Yes,
if you're still wondering what a Kaz Grala is,
he's right there.
He's right here.
It's
Kaz
the first
Grala
time he's been with
us
in a while.
Yeah,
too long. We'll have to do this more often.
It's good to be you're welcome to do it. Come in and do a show with us anytime you want. We also have Tyler Ankrum and Natalie Decker out in the main part of HMS Motorsports.
No pun intended. They're on deck later.
They're on deck. That is correct. And so we've got all kinds of stuff to get to here, but let's start right off with talking to Kaz a little bit.
Because we can.
Because we can, and because he has a limited time of availability with us, and we want to be respectful of that. Kaz, first of all, again, thanks for being here. And I know that you had an interesting season. It wasn't as long as you wanted it to be, but it was fun to watch Fury Racing sort of come out of the box and prove that you guys can be competitive and race up front when given the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I mean, it may have been 11 races shorter than I was expecting going into the season, but it really turned out to be pretty productive for us, I would say. I mean, I started the year with JGL Racing, intending to be full-time, but after only 10 races, the team owner fell ill and ended up shutting the team down. So I had to kind of scramble to see what I could come up with, and we did so in about 2 weeks and started Fury Race Cars Xfinity branch, and proved to be pretty successful. We went out, we got a top 10 in our first try. We almost won Michigan. We finished 12th, but if you'd watched the race, you'd see we were close had the rain fallen just a little bit earlier.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah. It could have happened. And plenty of other really, really strong runs throughout the season, including the sketchy Roval that caused so much discussion.
You had fun there, though.
I was going to say, what did you think of the Roval? Because, I mean, I'll be the first to admit, and everybody who watches knows, I was the biggest skeptic in the world and said, this is going to be a disaster. It's going to be terrible. It's stuffing marshmallows into a piggy bank. It's not built for stock cars. This is going to be a terrible event. And it turned out to be, I ate crow gladly on the Monday after the race, because I thought it turned out to be one of the greatest things that NASCAR and Charlotte Motor Speedway have ever done. And I'm looking forward to round two. What did you think of it?
I loved it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Just like you predicted, it was a disaster, but everyone's working with the same track surface out there. So at the end of the day, someone's going to win the race, and it's really no different than any other race. You have to tame the track and tame the other competitors to do so, and 7 of them beat us, but P8 for Fury Race Cars was pretty solid, and we got stage points in all 3 stages. That was actually our first time all year having that strong of a run. So overall, I was really excited about not only the track but our performance, and I think it's a great thing. I think they'll probably make a few small tweaks to the track for next year if I had to guess, but I hope they keep doing it for years to come.
Too much, because if you make it too easy, then it loses to me what makes it the Roval.
If it were up to me, all I would do is find some sort of solution for that terrifying head-on barrier. Just on the exit of the bus stop, because I was going
to say the barrier that ate race cars and made people go airborne for like 2.5 days.
I can tell you firsthand, as someone who did not have a backup car, that was the most scared I've ever been in a race car, entering the bus stop every single lap, especially in practice, because all it takes is slipping up just an inch and catching one of those blue turtles the wrong way, and it may be half a second before you're front clipped and with the body torn off it like a modified, and then your weekend's over. So that was pretty sketchy for sure, but I'm sure they can find some solution to kind of make the corner act exactly the same way, but maybe slightly safer.
I know they backed that barrier up for the Cup race the next day, which helped a lot, but I believe the popular Twitter meme out of that entire weekend was, "Are you not entertained?" So were you entertained by it, though, from behind the wheel?
I certainly was, watching Cup practice as it tore up like almost all 40 cars, it seemed like. It was definitely entertaining, but again, I'm watching that knowing 22 minutes, I'm going to be on the track in my car. I better not go do that right there. So it was definitely extremely exciting to watch, and they even moved it back a little bit for our race, and I already felt like that fixed 90% of the issues. So I'm sure they'll find something next year to make that perfect, and it's going to be an awesome event for years to come.
How much did you learn about yourself and grow, not just as a driver, but as a person this year, going through the ups and downs and hurdles and adversity and successes that you guys went through from one team to building Fury Race Cars?
I'd say I learned a lot on the track, but a lot off the track as well. And I think the biggest thing for me was going into the year, I didn't quite have that confidence, because I would have liked to have done another year in the truck series. If I had had the opportunity, I absolutely would have done so, because by no means did I feel like I had learned everything there was to learn about truck racing before moving up to Xfinity. Certainly not, but I had to follow the opportunity, and that was with JGL Racing. And I'm so glad that I did, because I'd say at the end of the season, I was 100% confident that I belonged in the Xfinity series and that I could hang with these guys. I was able to do so, and that I can continue in the future. And the way that you race knowing that you deserve to be there is much, much different than the way you race early on when you're skeptical of yourself. So I'd say gaining that confidence was the number one thing this season, and that will help me going forward, no matter what series it's in. Just not having that mindset will help you race more aggressively and be more successful.
How much fun, once you guys got over the stress of, oh my gosh, we have to build this in 10 days, once you got over that and got cars on track and really saw, hey, we've got something to work with, how much fun was it between you and your dad and the Uris and everybody that banded together to make Fury Race Cars really into what I felt like was one of the true success stories of this year? Because you guys shouldn't have been able to do what you did just based on the eye tests, and yet I felt like by the end of it, you guys turned yourselves into legitimate top 10 contenders every time you came to the racetrack.
It certainly was hectic, and it certainly was stressful initially, but you're right. And I even said it actually on my radio under pace laps at Homestead. This was the most fun race season that I've had in my life. I've had ones with more wins, with more successes, but this was a group of guys that really just had a blast together, and we had no expectation going into it. So everything we were able to accomplish was just icing on the cake. So it was really laid back, and I think that's part of what allowed us to be as successful as we were so soon, because we all had that nothing to lose attitude and really just went for it. And I think that showed. So it certainly was fun, but there was a lot that went into those first 2 weeks trying to get ready for Charlotte, stuff you wouldn't even think of. I mean, it goes so far beyond just trying to make your race car fast. I mean, just trying to get a pit crew lined up, a pit box lined up. Fury didn't own a pit box. Right. I mean, we had to get our entry forms filled out, and we'd never done that. We didn't even know who we needed to contact at first. So there's so much that goes into being able to do that. I mean, as simple as we had to get everybody hard carded in that short of a time span. So a lot had to happen, and there was a lot that could have stopped us from making it to Charlotte Motor Speedway. But luckily, we all kept our heads down and kept digging, and NASCAR worked with us and helped us through that process and got us to the racetrack. And it certainly worked out for us, particularly that weekend, having that strong debut.
I remember that when you climbed out of the car at Charlotte and your dad was hooting and hollering on pit road like y'all had just won the race. Was that moment at the end of the Charlotte race your favorite moment of the season, or did you have another one in mind?
That was definitely one of the highlights. I'd say Michigan was really, really fun, but actually what I thought was the coolest moment was Iowa, and that was Father's Day weekend.
Yes.
And so, of course, my dad is one of the owners of Fury, so he's a part car owner of our entry. And this was the first season he's actually been a car owner in any way, shape, or form of the car that I'm driving. So to have a strong top 10 run that weekend, and that was the hottest race I feel like I have ever been in. It felt like it was 6 hours long, and we battled so hard at the very end, scrapping for that top 10 spot, that I just felt like that was one of the most satisfying finishes and successes for us this year.
Now, you talked about your dad. Has he grown some of the hair back that I'm sure he lost at different points this year?
You know, luckily for him, he was not able to lose any hair this year. He didn't have any to lose. So,
yes.
no, the answer is no.
Yeah,
there's none growing back.
Of course, knowing your dad.
That's pretty funny. Well, it had to be an amazing thing for you to watch, let alone be a part of. Like you said, there's so many little things. The education that you got out of that about starting a race team alone has to be, I mean, you can't really put a price on that, let alone having it be a family team that now you've got that going. And I hope that somebody will step up and, we need to get some partners for you and let you get a full season in.
Hopefully. And of course, what you want to do always is go out there and race for wins. Absolutely. But there is something to be said for the learning that takes place from that 8th place spot to that 15th or maybe even 12th spot up there. Those guys race hard. They race harder than probably anywhere else in the pack. And there's a lot to be learned for leading restarts and knowing how to set the pace down pit road when you're in the lead. So there's certainly stuff to be learned up there. But from a pure racecraft perspective, I'd say running where we ran all year is the toughest place to be. And so I think it's prepared me more than anything to be able to get that shot someday in top equipment. I mean, you see guys like Ryan Preece and Ross Chastain.
Yep, absolutely.
And those are the guys that would be racing back there with me around that 10th to 12th spot. So their talent is unbelievable, and you see when they get an opportunity what they're able to do. So that's the ultimate dream and goal, is to be able to be in that position someday and prove yourself so you can move even more forward in this sport.
Well, we're all looking forward to that day, and we hope that it will come soon. We're going to step aside. When we come back, we got more with Kaz, and we've got Tyler Ankrum and Natalie Decker in the wings as well. Much more of the Stock Car Show to come. We are live at HMS Motorsport here in Mooresville, North Carolina, and we will be right back.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more. But the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
Hi, I'm Tyler Reddick, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport and mycomputercareer.com. Tom Baker, Jacob Seelman, Ali Boulay. We got Kaz Gralla with us inside. We're inside the conference room at HMS Motorsport.
Are you sure?
Right,
I'm not sure I know what he is.
He is a Kaz Gralla. I do believe he is the authentic Kaz Gralla.
I thought he was a majestic creature.
Allie forgot she didn't have a microphone for a minute.
Yes, majestic wild animal.
Yes, that's if you don't know what we're referring to, you need to go to Twitter. If you don't have
Or
a Twitter
Facebook.
account, get one.
Yeah, or Facebook.
Twitter or Facebook, and go to Kaz Gralla's social media, because Kaz has spent some time in downtown Charlotte lately, and he himself was walking around in downtown Charlotte asking if folks knew what a Kaz Gralla was.
Okay, so I think it's prudent. Let's let him tell that story, because I want to know how this came about. I know you were telling us before the show, but for the listeners, tell everybody how that video came about and how the idea for all that came together.
Well, it started actually back last year. I did a media advance for New Hampshire Motor Speedway, my home track, before the Truck Series race there, and their marketing department came up with the idea of walking around with a microphone and a camera crew in downtown Concord. That's Concord, not Concord.
When it's in New England, it's Concord.
Right,
North
big
Carolina,
difference.
It's Concord, yes.
And asking people what a Kaz Gralla was. And we really didn't, or at least I had no idea what kind of responses we'd get. I mean, what could you even think of, really? And we got some really funny ones. And it actually turned out to be pretty successful on their social media channels. So people liked it, and NASCAR had the idea of making a second one in downtown Charlotte. Our friends from the Pace Lap over there, the international show at NASCAR, decided to film it with us, and it came out pretty good. But let me tell you, the way more interesting video would have been the woman from NASCAR with the clipboard asking people if they'd be willing to do a quick 30-second video with me, because we may have gotten about 10 people to say yes, but there was at least 120 that said no and had all sorts of weird answers as to why and excuses. So I did not envy her. I had to do the asking in the New Hampshire one, but the employee from NASCAR had to do it liability-wise in downtown Charlotte. So I got to sit back and watch her get awkwardly declined. So I wish the video had featured parts of that as well. Of course, they can't if you didn't sign the waiver. But it was definitely an eventful time in Charlotte.
So, in other words, the people in Charlotte are much less fun than the people in Concord, New Hampshire.
They were also serious, in a rush to all sorts of meetings, or just kept their headphones on and their head down.
What was your favorite answer to what a Kaz Grala was?
Oh, I think a classic fan favorite's got to be the mystical wild animal. I mean, I don't even know. I can't think of something that someone could ask me what it is to where my response would be a mystical wild animal. But I'm glad somebody did say that.
See, my first thought, honestly, would be that must be a WWE character, because Kaz Grala sounds like a name that's made up of some sort of character that's doing something, either a movie or a WWE kind of thing. I don't mean that it's just, if you think first thing Kaz Grala, I'm thinking, something like Kamala, who used to be a WWE wrestler. So something along those lines was my first thought. But it was just very funny, and it speaks to your character that you were such a good sport about that, and that you pulled it off so seriously and so well.
Yeah, they definitely thought it was a serious question. I even led a couple of them, asking them what they did for a living and saying, well, perfect, then you'll know exactly what a Kaz Grala is. And that really throws them off. They have no idea. They're all flustered thinking they should know what it is. But yeah, it was funny to see their reactions afterwards, too. When I said that was my name, they were horrified, and most of them apologetic. But no, I thought it was all a lot of fun.
So you mentioned earlier in the first segment talking about how you felt like you could have used another year in the Truck Series, but with the move up to the Xfinity Series, what was the biggest thing you liked, or the biggest thing you had to adapt to going back to a car in comparison to the year that you raced trucks? Because I know the aero and everything and how they raced was really different.
For sure, but what was really relieving for me to find out was it wasn't necessarily different from a truck. It was, I would describe it more like similar to everything else I'd ever raced before. So it felt like a natural transition back into racing cars, which you think, all right, well, the cars and trucks are pretty much the same under the body. It's just the body, so could be a little bit of aero. It makes a huge difference in terms of how they race and even just how they drive by themselves. So I'd say when you move up to the Truck Series, you kind of have to learn a new style. And then when you move past the Truck Series, you kind of have to forget everything that you learned, or at least most of what you learned in the trucks, and kind of get back to more your roots racing in K&N and late models.
So I saw you having fun on Twitter earlier today, too, because today, as this show's airing live, marked 61 days from Daytona Speed Weeks, and talking actually with a picture of your Xfinity car on Twitter. And you had 2 top 5 runs at Daytona in the Xfinity Series this year. I know you're a natural in the draft. We watched you in the truck, and then we watched you in the Xfinity Series. But what is it about that style of racing that you've just been drawn to over the last couple years?
I don't know, because it's exactly the same at Talladega, and it certainly has not gone as well there for me. So I figure at some point my luck at Daytona is bound to run out, but each time I go back there, I'm just saying, well, hopefully it'll be next time. Hopefully next time. We'll just have one more good run here. But no, honestly, for some reason, I just have seemed to have been able to survive everything at Daytona. And a lot of people do watch plate races, and they say, anyone can win. It's complete dumb luck. But the truth is, if you notice and you look at some of the stats of guys, which I've spent a lot of time looking at,
See, he's like me. Tom. He pays
He's
attention
a
to
stats guy.
numbers.
some guys tend to be luckier than others. And I think that there's no way that
Yeah.
can be luck.
Luckier.
There is an art form to trying to avoid the chaos
I would
and
agree.
more importantly, figure out where to put your car so that you know if something does go wrong, I've got an easy escape plan. And certainly in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, that's very important. The Cup guys, they always have a big one, but they don't tend to wreck as much or as often as they do in the Truck and Xfinity Series. And those guys race throughout the whole field.
Yeah.
In Xfinity and Truck, sometimes it's just about knowing when to stay in line and survive. And as easy as that is to say, you see a lot of trucks and cars torn up every single race. So it's important to keep that mindset when you're only in stage 1 or stage 2, because I've been in plenty of Daytona races where there's only like 15 cars left running with 10 to go. And if you make it to there, you're going to get a good finish.
Well, look at the wreck look at the wreck that you missed to win Daytona in the truck. Was that a matter of you believing you were in the right position at that moment to miss that wreck? Or was that just a case of the wreck just didn't quite come to you and you were able to scoot your way through it? Because as I recall, you kind of just emerged and it's like, oh, look, Kaz is leading.
It was a little bit of both. I saw a hole and shot for it, and thank God that hole didn't close up before I got there. Had I been a couple feet to the left, I don't think I'd have made it. Had I been a couple feet to the right, I definitely wouldn't have made it. Might have been on my roof. So that is a little bit of luck, but I think a lot of instinct as well as soon as you start to see things go wrong. But believe it or not, that is not the worst wreck that I've missed at Daytona.
Oh, I bet.
There was a much worse wreck where Austin Cindric flipped at Daytona in the Xfinity race this July. And that one does not get as much coverage because you'd have to be told to pay attention to me on the replay to watch it, because I didn't come out with the lead. But I missed about 8 different, extremely hard impacts and made it through without a scratch on it. I wish that I had had an onboard video, because I think that might have been the best shot of 2018 in any series. But yeah, if you get a chance, go back, check that replay out. That was much crazier than even the one that I won in the truck.
Did you need the proverbial uniform change after that one?
I can't remember. I either came on the radio right after and said that, or I said something to the effect of, that looked just like a video game. I mean, it was full blown, like you'd see a NASCAR heat coming through the smoke. I mean, not something you see in real life. So it was pretty wild, and I was thanking my lucky stars to be through it.
So we want to give you a chance, obviously, to say thank you to the partners and people that made what racing you did do this season possible. But I also want to ask you really quickly, when you look back on this year, even though it wasn't a full year of competition, do you feel like that this year has taught you a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't have learned from just going through it and having a full set in stone, run the full season sort of a deal?
I think absolutely, and I think it's taught me about just knowing that you never know when this is going to be over. So you got to race every race like it's your last race, and you have to always give it your all, and more importantly, you have to enjoy the races that you are in, because I can tell you that first race that I missed this year was extremely disappointing. But my first race back after that was the most enjoyable race I've been in, because I was so happy just to be there and to be sitting in the car. And all of a sudden, any nerves you'd ever have before a race go away. And now you're just happy and excited to be in the car after driver intros. So it was a special season in many unique ways for me. But JGL Racing gave me my start this season, and so I'll always be really grateful for that. And they're the ones that gave me that opportunity in an Xfinity car to start out with. And then Fury Race Cars gave me an opportunity again to finish out the season in a really strong ride. And that was thanks to Nets, IT Coalition, Hot Scream at the end, DMB Financial, Ford Performance, Roush Yates engines. So it was a successful season, even though it was an eventful one. And hopefully some of our partners will join us again next year, and we can get something really good together.
Hot Scream Spicy Ice Cream, right?
That's right, yeah. If you haven't tried it, you've got to give it a try. I mean, you hear spicy ice cream, of course you've got to try it. It really is delicious.
Ice cream. It really is spicy ice cream.
You never thought they'd come out with that, but they did, and I'm glad that they did.
Well, there you go. And with that, we're going to step aside. We are grateful to have Kaz's presence with us, but we're going to move from Kaz Grala to Natalie Decker when we come back. And we've also got a huge safety seminar coming up in our second hour. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport and mycomputercareer.com. We're live from HMS Motorsport. We will be right back.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing, making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
What an awesome game. What's up with your car? I don't know. It won't start. How are we getting home? Chill. My parents signed me up for the roadside assistance from Lewis Meineke. It was free with my oil change. They'd come and get the car started or get us home and tow the car to the shop.
Good to know. With my driving, my parents never know what to expect.
When you join the Meineke Car Care Club with a $35 preferred service, you get 4 free months of roadside assistance, including tire change, battery jump, lockout service, towing, and more. Contact Lewis Meineke, located on Route 1, or call 827-2054.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
COPD, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, is a lung disease that robs people of their ability to breathe. As many as 24 million Americans suffer from COPD, also known as chronic bronchitis or emphysema, and half of them don't know they have the disease. If you or someone you love is over 35 and has smoked more than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime, visit driveforcopd.org and take the screener, then take that to your doctor. I'm Jeff Stoltz, and I drive for COPD.
Hi, this is Austin Terrio, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport and MyComputerCareer.com. We will tell you more about My Computer Career in a bit. We are live from HMS Motorsport here in Mooresville, North Carolina, and we are joined in this particular segment by young Natalie Decker, and we are really excited to have Natalie on our show for the first time. If you're not familiar with Natalie, you will be by the time this segment's over. And Natalie, I'm going to start right off by asking you the $64,000 question. You've got some major news you just announced. Talk a little bit about what you're doing in 2019.
Yeah, thank you for having me. 2019 is going to be a really cool season. I'm with DGR Crosley, and I got N29 backing me still, and I'm really excited. We're going to do as many truck races as we can, and that's what we're going to focus on. But they also race K&N and ARCA under DGR as well, so we can, move around and do whatever, we feel will fit the best and help me the most.
What brought you to DGR for 2019 over from Venturini Motorsports?
So we first saw them, come into the ARCA race, and I saw their ARCA car, and they were always really fast. But the big thing is when we saw that they had trucks, K&N and ARCA, that really got our interest, because we can do a K&N race that will help us with a truck race, or vice versa with ARCA and trucks as well. So we really liked that. But then as soon as I met David and his family, I just really knew it was going to be a really good fit, and they're just great people, and I'm really excited to work with them.
Obviously, they've got you taken care of in the apparel department already. Have you been able to spend some time? Have you been able to spend some time around the shop already and start to get accustomed to some of the team you're going to be working with?
Yeah, a little bit. I got my seats there and everything, and the PR girl there, Summer, she hooked me up right away the day I came to take pictures. So I got a sweatshirt right away, which is pretty awesome. I was happy. But I've been there a little bit. They're going to move to a new shop. It's right next door. So I'm really excited once they do that, and to see what that all looks like and when it all comes together.
Talk a little bit about your season this year. Obviously, we saw you on the ARCA Racing Series, and Daytona, I know, was big, being able to start on the pole and have that experience. But it looked like, each race this year, you were able to learn a lot in a lot of different settings. Talk a little about just kind of your experiences with Venturini this year, and what you soaked in learning the ARCA car through the 20 races you had.
Yeah, working with Venturini was wonderful. I worked with two different crew chiefs, Dave Liner and Frank Kimmel, and both I've learned so much from both of them. It was really great experience. Like you said, Daytona was great to start off with, getting the pole and then a 5th place finish. So that was a really good start to the season, and we had ups and downs, but I learned so much, and I really am excited to be moving on and, with my career and seeing what else is next.
I've heard different people say different things about the ARCA cars, and I know they've undergone some changes the last couple of years. For you, what was it like driving the ARCA car this year, and kind of some of the nuances you had to adjust to from a driving standpoint?
Yeah, well, I come from short track racing and super late, so that is completely different than an ARCA car. I was really lucky. Even last year, before this last season, I did 7 races with Venturini, and Frank Kimmel was always at the track, and he was always helping all the drivers. And then again, to have him for the last half of the season as a crew chief, that helped me so much, because he's been to all these tracks and racing the ARCA series.
What was that like, having somebody like Frank as a crew chief this year? I mean, he's done it all and been, through the ringer a time or 20, 10 championships. That had to be quite the experience, having him on your pit box.
Yeah, it was. It was really fun. And, he always knows when to be serious, but he really knows how to have a good time.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Going forward, obviously, some of the tracks you visited in the ARCA series will help you if you get the opportunity to go back to them in the truck. But I know it sounds like you're going to get a chance to start off at Daytona in the truck series, so I'm sure that's got to be a good feeling, knowing that you at least have some positive momentum from this February, and a little bit of experience of what to look for in the draft to fall back on.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We'll be starting off at Daytona, and we ran good there last year. A lot of people tell me it's a little bit different in the truck, because they punch a bigger hole in the air, and they're a little bit bigger than the ARCA car. But I'm really excited to get the experience and get the laps and get the feel for a truck for my first time at Daytona. I feel like that's going to be really exciting.
You mentioned coming from a short track background in the Midwest. Did you anticipate, still at a young age, being at this point in your career this quickly?
I don't know. That's such a hard question. I can't even dream of being here. I'm just so lucky and so happy that I'm here. And my family and N29 they're the only reasons I'm here. I mean, I've worked really hard, but if it wasn't for them, I would not be sitting here talking to you guys right now about this.
Tell us about N29 for those in our audience who aren't familiar with that.
Yeah, so N29 is out of Madison, Wisconsin, and that's just a couple hours from where I grew up. And it was really cool how I got the sponsor. We asked him to come in for a meeting with my parents and myself for his help and advice. He's a really smart businessman and has a lot of connections. So we just wanted his advice on how to go along with our plan that we had. And he said he would think about it and come back next week. And then he ended up wanting to be the sponsor. So it was really cool and it was so exciting. So many emotions were going through during that meeting that I don't even think I realized what was the start of something. And I didn't think I was like picturing that, okay, this is the start of my whole career. Like, he's helping me. If I didn't have those first 3 ARCA races with him, I wouldn't be here.
That's awesome.
Talk a little bit about, obviously, going into next year. You mentioned having Frank as a mentor this year, but you mentioned feeling like David was a good fit. What's been your experience so far working with him, and especially going into the Truck Series, obviously, with him having as much NASCAR experience he does, that's going to be another great resource for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I haven't really worked with him like at a racetrack yet, or have him coach me at all. But I've just sat down and had meetings with him and, talked to him. And obviously I'm racing with him, so I talk to him all the time. And I really just like his personality, and I like the drive he has and his passion for the sport. And, he's really laid back too. So it's really nice to have someone like that.
What is a realistic goal for you in your mind for next year in terms of progress? What have you thought about? Have you sat down and thought about, what's the benchmark that you're trying to hit in the Truck Series next year? I know it's only a part-time season right now, but.
Well, that's a good question. I haven't really thought about a set goal yet, but let's think about it right now. I definitely, yeah, I really would like to, do as well as I did at Daytona when I was in there in the ARCA car. But then again, my big goal, I feel like, is going to be at the bigger tracks like 1.5 miles, is learning as much as I can and, proving to myself that I can drive at these 1.5 miles, because that's where I struggled last year. So if I can prove to myself that I'm competitive at the 1.5 miles, I feel like I'll be really happy.
I feel like some of that, the drivers that I coach, whenever they move up to a new level, it's always, just try to finish, because the more laps you complete, obviously, and the more seat time you get, the more you learn. You can't learn anything if you're out on lap 3 because you tried too hard. So it sounds like maybe just, logging time and trying to just build your knowledge is really what your season's about next year, and then maybe a full-time campaign in 2020.
Yeah, really, like you said, just getting as many laps as I can, learning as much as I can, and I really believe I'm with a great team to teach me as most as I can learn. Yeah.
And as you mentioned too, the opportunity not just to drive in trucks, but drive in K&N cars, still drive in ARCA cars some, and being able to get experiences in several different types of cars on several different types of tracks. That diversity in schedule, does it take the pressure off a little bit, where this year you had to think about make points a little bit with Venturini, where next year you won't have to think about points?
I never really thought about points racing my whole entire life, and I have won championships, and the way I've won those championships was not thinking who I need to beat and what points, where I need to finish. I just went out and did the best I could, and I really feel that's what won our championships in super late racing. But yeah, it's going to be nice just focusing on one race at a time, and like you said, with the whole K&N and ARCA thing, I'm really excited that he has those teams as well, because that's going to give me more practice for a truck race.
You mentioned, obviously, the super late models being your background. if you ever got an opportunity, would you like to go back and run some super late model races at some point? Or are you going to have an opportunity to do that at any point in the future?
I do have a Fury car at my house in Wisconsin, and it only has a few races on it. My sponsor actually is the one who sponsored that car, and I am begging my parents and my sponsor every day to bring it to North Carolina. They want to bring it to North Carolina as well. So I hope they do. If it comes to North Carolina, I feel like I would only race it a few times, and I feel like Derek Lemke might be in it, racing it before I would. But sadly, but that's totally okay because, I'd probably learn a lot going to a racetrack about a race car if someone else was driving it and I got to be there. So
fair enough. You mentioned obviously N29. What other partners or supporters, thank yous do you need to give for people that have helped you get to this point?
Definitely my parents. I want to thank my family and my aunt and just my family in general. My grandpa, everyone, they've supported me so much. But yeah, my sponsor, N29, Carl and Deb, they both come to the race every weekend, no matter what. Even when I wasn't racing at Pocono and Brennan was in my car, they still came out to support me, even though I only made one lap. And they support me not just as a sponsor, but almost as like a family too, and it means a lot.
I suppose that's a fair last question before we cut you loose. I know you were battling a little bit earlier this season, but everything's good now. You're ready to go for the upcoming year?
Yes, I'm so ready to go.
That's awesome. We can't wait to see you on the track, and we really appreciate, again, like Kaz, we know that you're limited on time, so we wanted to be respectful of that. Thank you for dropping by and chatting with us. We look forward to getting you into our Race Chaser studio at some point to do a Thursday night show as soon as we can.
That'd be awesome. Thank you for having me.
That's Natalie Decker, and we're going to step aside. When we come back, Tyler Ankrum will join us here on the program.
If you've seen Tyler, that's trouble.
That's trouble. And don't forget, we do have a huge safety seminar coming up in the second hour as well. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Stock Car Show, and it is presented by these folks right here where we are, HMS Motorsport and at mycomputercareer.edu. We will be right back.
Everywhere you go, you hear it, and you see it. It's coming at you through your phone, your tablet, and your computer. It's broadcast from your favorite radio station, TV networks, and cable companies. It's in the stadiums, the arenas, the ballparks. It screams for your attention at the mall. It's interactive on Main Street. It's even coming at you from the gas pump at the nearby convenience store. What is it? It's digital content. It's digital content. It's digital content. Somebody has to create it. Somebody has to manage it. So whether your dream is to write it, design it, create it, call it, produce it, voice it, host it, light it, shoot it, switch it, record it, color correct it, edit it, code it, repurpose it, tweet it, blog it, post it, compress it, upload it, replay it, or make sure it gets to where it's got to go when it's got to get there in the format it's got to be in, you need to attend Carolina School of Broadcasting. The skills you will learn, the experience you will get, and the connections you will make at Carolina School of Broadcasting will open the doors to the career you want in digital content creation and digital content management. Call or come by today. Click csbradiotv.edu.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ben Rhodes, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Yeah, a little Jim Croce there, bringing us back from the break. A little bad Leroy Brown, and we are back live at HMS Motorsport here in Mooresville, North Carolina. And we are just about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes away from the safety demonstration. But first, we are going to talk with Tyler Ankrum, who has joined us here on the set.
And let's be clear, on permission from his mom, because he's had all sorts of school stuff going on after they yelled at you for missing so much school the second half of the year.
Yeah, it was I think 43 absences. So they weren't too happy about that, but we gave a hefty donation to all the new bulletproof doors to put in the school. So
yes,
they're okay with it now. Yeah, they're like, oh yeah,
nothing a good donation.
Keep on go racing.
Yeah.
School
bribery will get you everywhere.
That's right.
Money talks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So now that we've let that cat out of the bag, so you had another cat that got let out of the bag recently. First of all, for those in our audience who don't know, you are the now reigning 2018 NASCAR K&N Pro Series East champion, but next year you are not going to defend that title because you're going trucking.
Yeah, it's really cool. Honestly, it's so far, just all the intention, just alone from everyone announcing that we're going truck racing, and been a little bit overwhelming. But it's actually awesome going truck racing because I've been a fan of it, just a fan. Like I used to go to Charlotte, just walk around the garage because I was a fan. Like I was a fan of all those guys in the truck series. Now I'm kind of a part of it. Like I'm a part of it now, and for me it's hard to wrap my head around it because like we raced at Phoenix and finished 6th, and that's hard for me just to wrap my head around that because that was a racetrack I always grew up going to as a kid because a lot of times we go race at the Sun Valley Quarter Midget Club 30-40 minutes away, and we hop in the truck and go watch the Cup race. Yeah. So it's just things like that I did as a kid, and then I was there on that track racing it. It's just I've had some amazing experiences.
Do you legitimately feel like you're in a still kind of in a dream right now with all this happening as quickly as it has? Because as you mentioned, a year ago this time, you didn't have. I don't even think you had your K&N deal at that point. So you've literally, in a year's span, gone part-time K&N. Oh wait, now we're going to run for a championship. Oh wait, now we just won a championship, and now we're going truck racing.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a storm.
For you to say.
Yeah, that's the truth, right?
Yeah, it's I can only imagine what it's been like for you because everything's happened so quickly. Have you even had a minute to actually stop and process it?
Well, the funny thing is like Martinsville came along. That was our first truck deal, and my dad helped me and my dad and David put it together, and my daddy wasn't even the one to tell me. My mom didn't even tell me. I just roll up to the shop and there's this truck sitting there. It's got Maze Hawaii on it. I'm like, that's my dad. Like my dad works for that company. That's weird. Walk around the shop. Next thing you know, I turn around. My name's on top of the door. I'm like, are you guys? Is this some like sick joke? Yeah, no one told me. I just walked in the shop and there's my name on the door.
That is so something David would do.
And then I call my dad. I'm like, what? Like that's all I said. What? And he goes, what? I'm just like, are we going truck racing? He's like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we're going to race Martinsville.
I forgot to tell you.
That so reminds me because I just watched a Joe Rogan podcast with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Where he said that's how he found out that he was racing the Busch car for his dad. Dale never told him. He walked into the shop and his name was on the car. And like Tyler, he thought it was a prank and actually started yelling at Tony Eury Sr. until they told him it was real.
The worst part is he did it at Phoenix too. I mean, I walk in the shop, I'm like, oh, well, my name's on the door again. I call my dad. I'm like, are we running Phoenix? He's like, oh yeah, again, it's mine. I'm just so busy at work, Bubba. Sorry, I can't forget things.
That's where Tyler's standing in the shop going, I have to be getting punked right now.
Where's the candid camera?
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. So now we're doing a full season. So
full season.
Real.
It's real.
Now.
Yeah, it's real.
Talk a little bit about what that's going to be like for you because, I mean, obviously a race here, a race there is one thing, but to be contemplating a full season in NASCAR's National Series, the dream has now come true.
It's definitely been different. Like we're talking about, like, I got to go do a drug test. Like, I've never done a drug test before. It's like, and I'm like, what? Exactly. That's what I'm seeing. Like, my mom walks up to me today. She goes, hey, you got to go do a drug test tomorrow or the day after. I'm like, well, why? Like,
Yeah, for what?
right. And she goes, oh, well, it's for like NASCAR and the trucks. And she's like, you're not worried about it, right? I'm like, no, I'm going to pass. I know that for a fact. But like, I'm like, this is different. Like, well, I got to go to like see a doctor and pee in a cup. And she's like, yeah, that's basically what it is. So I'm like, okay, that's different. And then not only that is I'll miss the first 3 races of the year. My first race will be at Martinsville, which is nice because having that truck experience this year.
I was going to say, it's almost fitting, isn't it?
Yeah, and then my first 1.5 miles will be Texas. That's fitting. Like probably the most intimidating racetrack on the schedule. So, you know what? I think we're going to be good. And, you know, seeing how and I really appreciate what David does is he runs that truck too. And he finished 3rd at Iowa, 4th at Dover. He was running 2nd when he blew the right front at Texas. So having a guy like David get in the truck for a guy really, you know, isn't retired, but sorry, Dave, if you're watching or listening, but it doesn't really drive that much anymore. For him to get in that truck and have speed and showcase that speed, it gave me a lot of confidence heading to Martinsville and heading to Phoenix. Never being in a truck before, but knowing that it's been a really long time that he's been in a truck as well, even though he has all that experience, it gives me confidence that I can do it too. So really, that for me, that's what I got so far heading into the 2019 season. I got that right.
Yes.
But 2019 season, but almost like every single track this year on the K&N schedule, no experience, never been there before, so I know I can learn fast. I know I can pick up the tracks and find speed and find a way to win. So I know the competition's going to be harder. I mean, it gets harder every single level you go up.
Of course it does, yep.
So I know it's definitely going to be hard because you got like guys like, I think, is Sauter full time next year again?
Oh, yeah.
Sauter, yeah, he'll be bought. I mean, guys like him. You got Todd Harrison. They've been crafting. They've been in it for a lot longer than I have. Yeah, Friesen. Yep. So guys like that, you know, they've been in this series for, you know, 2 years now, 2-3+ years. So they're definitely going to be very hard to beat.
How instrumental? I mean, obviously he's been your team owner this year and will be again, but how instrumental has David's support been through this process? And you know, I know he's not just been a team owner, but really he's been a mentor for you.
It's been huge, and honestly, it wouldn't be for David. It wouldn't have been for David. Any of this, any of what have done in the past, it wouldn't have been for David, because when I was racing quarter midgets in California, racing the National USAC Tour, my final year, I won all 4 championships. It was very natural for everyone was saying, okay, this kid's going midget or sprint car racing. We bought a midget. We had just bought a dirt midget, and we're about ready to go buy a sprint car. We're about to go sprint car racing as well.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, right. That's what I say. I say all the time, let's go back midget racing. But my mom says no, especially after what happened to Leffler. And after all that, David was like, "Why don't you come drive a late model for me?" Because I told him I want to be a Cup driver for the rest of my life, and if it wasn't for David, we wouldn't be here. I'd probably be working at Modern Meat Company or still in high school or chasing girls. And yeah, I mean, yeah, still we're in high school chasing girls and playing golf or working for my dad or something like that. So
you wouldn't be driving a race.
Yeah, right. Girls can be expensive though, so being a race car driver at least gives you a little more.
I was dating this chick for a little while, and I swear every morning she wanted like Starbucks or Chick-fil-A. And I looked at her one morning. I said, if this is what it's going to cost to be your boyfriend, I might think I have to cut out of this because I'm broke. Like I have my monthly allowance, and that's it. Like I can't be spending food and buying you presents all the time. Like this is unacceptable.
So that they got a race car. That's no less.
It's like, hey, babe, by the way, we're going truck racing.
Now, you mentioned you have to miss the first couple races of the year. So he's not racing for DGR Crosley. He's racing for KBM. But do you still go to Todd and go, hey, can you give me some advice here? Because he basically had to go through the same process that you're about to go through.
Yeah, and the worst thing is with Todd that he had no racing. I think he did New Smyrna and Bristol. That was it. And then it was still like another 2 months before he got back in the car. I think I'll still have my super late models, which is going to be. I still have Tyler Ankrum Racing, so we're going to go out west and win the Winter Showdown.
I like his confidence.
I think
we're going to win the Winter
Showdown. Yeah. And then I think Tanner is going to run one of my supers at the Red Eye in New Smyrna. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I know he wants to run a few super races, which I'm all for. I mean, they're going to sit there all year practically with our truck schedule. But so we still have some things we want to do. We still want to. There's a possibility of running a Canaan race or two. There's a possibility of running an ARCA race or two. So there's still possibilities. It's just not full cut and dry trucks at the moment, because we all know how spread out the truck schedule is.
Absolutely.
Because I think the first 3 races of the year, it's spread over a period of 3 months, or something like that.
And
then
we all know you're going to go stir crazy if you have
right for 3 months. Yeah, I won't be able to sit in the classroom for that long. 43 absences. Are you kidding me? It's a lot of work once you're back at home, but when you're away from school at the racetrack, it's really fun.
Okay, so we got to step aside, but we're gonna have Tyler with us still when we come back from the break, and I'm gonna ask him the all-important question: who's gonna milk the cows while he's gone doing all this truck racing? We'll be back here on the Stock Car Show live from HMS Motorsport, and right after these words.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the Track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend. My brother. My poor grandchild.
My sister.
My father.
My husband.
My mom.
Network is a compilation of shows about motorsports. From technical to controversial to just fun, everything you like about racing and gearhead stuff is right here on one internet channel. The Performance Motorsports Network. Tell your friends about it.
Hi, I'm Reed Sorensen. Racing has been a part of me and my family for as long as I can remember. I had to make tough choices early on to get to the top. It took hard work and dedication, but it's those tough choices that help me prepare for challenges I would face as a cup driver. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Hi, I'm Timmy Salamito, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show. We are live from HMS Motorsport here in Mooresville, North Carolina. We had Kaz Gralla on earlier in the program.
I'm just trying to lean out of the shot so they can see the logo.
And there you go. And then we had Natalie Decker on, and we have been talking with Tyler Ankrum, who is going truck racing as well, but full-time with DGR.
Yes. Real talk, by the way, we need to have you tape one of those re-entries before you leave tonight, right?
Yeah, it's been really long. I think I was still late model.
I think you were still a super late model the last one we did.
And
It's still in the bowels of the computer somewhere.
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe the only time we ever hear you use the word bowels on this show. I hope it is, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Okay, so, we teased before the break. Now, for those of you who don't know, Tyler is really an old soul, and his family, you've got a farm. You live on a farm, and you just got, over the course of this year, you just added some cows, right? I mean, this is your first year with the cows on the farm?
Yeah, so last year we had horses. We had a few horses, and this year it's all cows. It's all Brahma. So
you traded horses for cows?
Yeah, which I was opposed to because they're not that pretty to look at, honestly.
And they're harder to ride too.
Yeah, that's right. And they poop all over each other and they pee all over each other. And they're like all covered in mud and they create a mess. And they're nice. They're nice because you can leave them in the pasture for weeks at a time and not have to touch them. You can just look at them and they'll moo at you and they're fine. Horses you got to put in the barn every night. You got to put them out in the pasture. They got to feed. They got to walk. They got to run. And they got to exercise because if not, they get fat. Blah 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 blah. Cows are just easier. Yeah, right. Exactly.
So who's going to take care of the cows while you're going truck races?
So probably my mom. Honestly, she. When we first got the idea of cows came along, she was totally opposed to it because she was like, oh, it's going to be so much work and blah, 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 blah. Well, now she loves them. She can't get enough of them. So she loves working with the cows. And if anything, we'll probably just, if she's always traveling with me, if she doesn't stay home sometimes, especially during the winter, because they pretty much got to be fed a bale of hay every single day because the grass doesn't have enough nutrients in it to really fill their bellies. Probably just there's plenty of people around here to hire as a ranch hand or something like that.
If Michelle's listening, I think your son just nominated you to do work. You can yell at him for that later. She'll yell at you for that later, I'm sure.
She yells at me anyways, so it's okay.
You called this a whirlwind earlier. I mean, what has this been like, seriously, for you emotionally? I mean, can you even still believe this yet?
Not really, because it's funny because one of my bus buddies, his brother, his name's Ryan. His brother raced supers, and we just kind of connected that way. And we go to high school together. We have a few classes together. So, we play NASCAR Heat 3 all the time, like that or iRacing. So in NASCAR Heat 3, there's this they call it the hot seat, prove your way to this truck. Well, I raced the first race in Martinsville. I'm like, dude, I feel like I'm in the hot seat right now. I feel like I'm playing NASCAR Heat 3. I'm here at Martinsville trying to prove myself here.
The real game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The real VR. We put those VR goggles on. It's something like that, and it's been so surreal because that's all racing was ever for me. Because I was just doing super late models, and until this year came in, it was all just a dream. And this dream slowly, hopefully, becomes true. But it's slowly becoming true because I watch, on Fox Sports or NBC. You always watch the truck races. They go to all these cool places, and this year I've had the opportunity to go to some awesome places like Iowa, Watkins Glen, New Hampshire, Dover. Just a few marquee races right there with tracks I would have never fathomed of going to. I still have a tough time wrapping my head around it because I've said it multiple times as a kid. I just grew up going to Fontana every single year. Just wanted to be like Jimmy Johnson,
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like you see Jimmy Johnson at Dover, you see him at Bristol. I saw him at Dover and Bristol, and you fangirl on the inside. You're like, oh my god, he just sees up, you just stop and oh, that's Jimmy Johnson, dude.
It's natural.
And it's funny because Todd always makes fun of me because he was at Bristol and Dover too, and I'll fangirl. I'm tugging on his shirt. I'm like, dude, that's just Jimmy Johnson. Just walked by, and Kyle Busch he actually brushed up against me, and I'm turning off my sleeves and putting in the Holy Grail. And Todd, and obviously Todd and his dad raced, so he's around it his entire life. For him, it's normal. For me, it wasn't normal. Right. So, and Todd's just like, dude, calm down. He was like, I'm like, dude, you do not realize how big of a deal this is. I grew up a fan. You grew up a part of it, and you still are, and he still is. And I'm slowly, I feel like I'm slowly becoming part of that fold. So it's really been a ride so far.
Give me a little piece of Coach Tom advice. Don't ever lose that fan passion, because I think the minute you cross the line from I'm a fan getting to do what I love to this is a job for me, I think the whole attitude and mindset changes. And I've never thought that was for the better. I think the drivers who, like yourself, like Clint Boyer, these guys, the guys are the personalities who just love doing what they're doing. And also, to me as a fan, you're way more interesting because of that than some of the guys who, treat this as a job and just kind of don't seem to be having as much fun.
Well, it's that's an interesting part of it because I like watching college football. I think college football, I mean, I was really mad about the Patriots game last night. I was really mad about that.
I wasn't.
You guys
Sorry,
suck.
Cowboys lost. I'm happy.
No, those are like two of America's teams right there. Like that's.
They're my teams, not my America. San Diego Chargers, dude. We beat
No.
the Chiefs.
What's the record this year? They have a they have a fantastic record. Yeah. But I was really mad about the Patriots last night. But I always love watching college football because college football, they don't get paid. They're really doing it for the purity, the spirit, the purity and the spirit of the sport, and they're trying to prove their way to get to the NFL. And where you always see with like the NFL, where it's like I feel like they don't want to hurt themselves because they got this big contract coming up, and so they'll kind of like be more reserved and in ways like that. And, that might not always be true, but just from like my opinion alone, I feel like that's like one of your points right there.
Yeah, and I can relate that right back to racing and saying I think this is why I love the Cup Series. I really love the Xfinity Series, but I absolutely am nuts about the Truck Series for that exact same reason. So many of you young whippersnappers trying to work your way up, so aggressive. It's so much fun to watch.
And I think that's the thing you're seeing now is because obviously there's this thing happening where all these young drivers come to Cup. Yeah. And you're no longer seeing the big like $8-9 million contracts drivers are being paid. Now it's more like $150, $250. And what's happening is if they want to make $1 million in racing, it's like the way it was back in the day. You got to win. You got to win, or you got to finish through. And I agree. And that'll make racing a lot better. If you said, okay, you have no salary, the only way you're going to make money is if you perform. Every single driver would drive with his hair on fire every single weekend. I mean, I know I would, because if racing doesn't work out, I still want to have a mansion on the lake and a hot wife. That's just the way I think. And I want to have 20 cars, and I want to have, a big giant boat.
He definitely wants to be.
Exactly. And when Thanksgiving, Christmas comes around, I want to have Taco Bell, KFC, Wonder Bread, and Mystic Mountain Blueberry on the table. Thank you.
I'm with our video. I'm with our video producer Cisco Scaramuzza, who usually gets a box on screen. That right there was the quote of the year. Absolutely.
Yep. The worst part is like it's the end of the year, but we're leading into next year. So can we like put that slot into like next year too? Like this is the best quote of 2019. We'll save it.
I coined him Hollywood because of his hair, but he's got good points right now.
I think you raised the bar for 2019.
Yes,
if you're gonna be the quote of the year in 19, you got to beat that one.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'll come up with something. Honestly, I don't look in the mirror at night and come up with these lines myself. They're just right off the top of my head. I don't see bumper stickers, or I don't look this stuff up. So I'm trying my best for the fans.
You could make bumper stickers at the rate you're going.
I hope so. That's a very lucrative business. You'd be surprised about people that like bumper stickers or those rear window stickers, like those Salt Lifes or Yetis or That's what we're going. We're making. We're laminating company. That's what we're doing. Yeah. We're doing it.
What are you most excited for about the Truck Series this coming year?
For me, I'm just excited to get in the truck. Like that truck at Phoenix, it was ridiculous. Like I felt things in that truck that I'd never felt before. Like it was to put it simply, it was an experience. But to put it in an unsimplistic way, I felt things aerodynamically wise that I never trusted in a car before. Like in a K&N car, I would not trust a K&N car if I was loose in, which I was a little sometimes at Dover, to yank the thing off the wall and expect for it to hold. At Phoenix, I was loose in sometimes, but it would hold. And I like to call those big, giant, tall doors and quarter panels on the truck billboards. Those billboards can hold all that air. And I think I was behind. I think I was passing Sauter, and I got up to him, and I'd get really aero tight, and I just shove the nose up in the center. Be like, so okay, so like, how am I going to get this? And my spotter David Keith comes over and he goes, get a headlight out. I'm like, what? He goes, get your headlight out, left side headlight, underneath his quarter, and it'll make a world of difference. And I yank the thing off the wall. It gets a little loose, but the air holds it. So I keep turning left, don't cut it back right. I get my headlight out, and boom, like turned right underneath him and was passing down the backstretch. And for me, it was like, whoa, Like, how'd that happen? It's like when and it's like when you actually hit a golf ball straight down the fairway. It's like, whoa. It's like, where's my PGA Tour card at? That's how I felt passing Johnny Sauter, because I've watched him for I don't know how many years. I've watched him for a really long time, and I just passed him 2 laps before the last stage break. Like, just crazy things happened to me that race I would never dreamed of.
Tom, he's not going anywhere, right? For a bit still.
Well, no, we'll trade him temporarily.
We do have to trade him temporarily. I just hope he's not going anywhere, because he's been so. I'm not done yet.
Mrs. Ankrum, we're going to keep him for just a few minutes longer, but we got to get the safety seminar in first.
I finished my homework, so.
Oh, there you go.
I'm good.
You're good. Okay,
Yeah.
so Tyler will.
Oh wait, I got the math. No, I'm
a
good.
little later, so don't go
It can
anywhere.
wait.
We've got a huge safety seminar coming up right around the other side of this break. Stick with us. You're listening to the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport, which is where we are right now, and mycomputercareer.edu. We'll be right back.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper cars, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Automotive technicians and auto service trainees, how would you like to work at the beach and perform for one of the best car care centers in the nation? Lewis Meineke is now looking for skilled automotive technicians to join their award-winning team. If you're a gearhead that knows his or her stuff, or a young up-and-comer that has the motivation and drive to succeed, then you need to make this call today. 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center, located in beautiful Lewis, Delaware, offers a highly competitive compensation plan, great benefits, a flexible schedule, and did we mention that you're going to be working at the beach? Plus, there's a signing bonus for the right candidates. Technicians must be ASE certified and have a minimum of 6 years experience. Beginners advance at your own pace in one of several entry-level positions. But whatever you do, don't wait. These jobs will go fast. Call Tim at 302-827-2054. That's 302-827-2054. Lewis Meineke Car Care Center. Rev up your career.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
How to deal with someone who says that's so gay. Outsmart them.
This party is like so gay. Totally.
Excuse me, but did you ladies know the word gay used to mean happy or excited? Then it became a word used to describe gay people. Then somehow it came to mean dumb or stupid, which is how you just used it, which is not very nice.
Ew, that guy is on the football team and super smart, and he totally hates us now. Totally.
When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off. Learn more at thinkbeforeyouspeak.com.
Hey, this is Garrett Smithley, driver of the number nothing Chevrolet for JD Motorsports, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Welcome back to the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport and mycomputercareer.edu. My name is Tom Baker. Jacob Seelman was sitting here. He'll be back. Tyler Ankrum was sitting over there. He will also be back. The gentleman I have here now is Billy Clive, and Billy is a part of the HMS Motorsports staff, and I think there's a microphone somewhere over in there. Yeah, there you go. You covered it up there. Yeah, you got your own mic there. So Billy is going to talk to us tonight. We had him in our Race Chaser studio over the summer at one point, and we did a seminar that featured the dangers of wearing anything under your driver's suit other than fireproof underwear. And we got so much feedback from that I wanted us, as it's the end of the year, it's Christmas time, you're looking for gifts to give your friendly race car driver. So can't think of a better gift than a safety gift. I wanted to kind of repeat this and talk again about Billy, because you blew me almost out of the studio with the things you were describing. Talk about driver safety from an underwear standpoint or an under the suit standpoint.
Sure, absolutely. So the biggest thing is you want to always wear a garment that is rated. So it's either going to be an FIA rating or an SFI rating. Those are the two sanctioning bodies that will control the rating. If you have something that's rated, then you know it's been tested. You know that it's approved for motorsports applications. There's a lot of products out there that are being worn under suits for cooling purposes that are not motorsports rated. They might work on a movie set or a football sideline, but in a race car, they're not going to work. One of the biggest fears any race car driver has is fire. And fire is fortunately not as popular as it once was because of the advent of fuel cells and fire systems and all that, but it still can happen. And it's happened plenty in the top NASCAR series. It happens in IMSA. It happens all the way, late models, all the way up and down the racing circuit. So having proper fireproof gear from head to toe is critical. One of the areas we see at the track most abused is the underwear aspect of it.
Right.
A lot of people will say, well, I have an SFI 3-layer suit. So yes, that is a great suit. You should wear a 3-layer suit as a minimum. But if you wear a cotton shirt underneath a fire suit, cotton is going to hold that moisture close to your skin. And what's going to happen is in a fire, that moisture, that sweat, will actually start to boil off, and you will get steam burns. Very bad second-degree, third-degree steam burns, depending on how long you are in the heat. From your own sweat. Versus a fireproof garment, your suit and any underwear that's SFI or FIA rated is a breathable material. So it allows that moisture to leave the skin, greatly reducing the risk of any kind of a steam burn. The other common thing that we see worn under suits nowadays is those compression type shirts, athletic shirts you see from companies like Under Armour, et cetera. So those are really designed to obviously for sports, but they're designed for active sports to hold your muscles in compression. When you're in a race car, you're getting very hot, but you're not actually using your muscles like you would on a football field or a soccer pitch. And so those compression shirts might feel great, but they're actually making you become hotter in the car because they're holding that moisture. They're holding your muscles tight. They're not letting you breathe. Versus a rated underwear will allow them to breathe, allow everything to breathe and protect you. Even worse than the steam burn is if you wear an undergarment such as the ones we're describing from anything made out of polyester, that stuff's going to melt. It's plastic.
Oh God.
So the heat, your suit will stop the flames from getting to you, but they can't really stop the heat, and so that heat will melt the undergarment, and they will be pulling it off of you for weeks at end. And so it's critical.
Not good, folks.
Not good. So even if you have a 3-layer suit, we say you shouldn't wear anything under that's not fire rated. So you really even shouldn't go naked because you're actually going to be cooler and more comfortable in the car wearing underwear under your head, your shirt, your pants, everything, than you would just be having nothing on. Because again, that breathability, the ability for the body to remove the moisture away from the skin will keep you cooler in the race car. It might seem hotter when you're actually out of the car and have everything on, and that's where a lot of people, like in an application like this, in a showroom, whatever, trying everything on. But over the course of a race, you will feel more comfortable and be less worn out at the end of the race if you wore underwear. Same thing with headstocks. A lot of people don't wear a balaclava or a headstock, whatever you want to call it. They feel like it's hotter. It doesn't let them breathe. Besides offering the protection covering your neck from fire, which a lot of fire suits just don't have that neck protection, a balaclava will keep your head cooler. It will protect your helmet from sweat and moisture. And it will also protect your neck. And it's really important for anyone with longer hair or facial hair. The balaclava will protect that hair from burning because fire will work its way up via the hair on your neck, up underneath the helmet. And even if you have your visor down, you'll still have fire inside your helmet. So, head to toe, it might feel hot getting in the car, but once you're in the car and you're settled into the race, over the long haul, you will feel cooler and you will be protected from a fire.
So cotton T-shirts and such steam burns.
Steam burns, yep.
Okay, your Under Armour type clothing that's designed for compression. Okay, that melts.
That melts.
Okay, and obviously, if you have nothing on under there, well, then you're totally exposed.
Yes, I mean that's better than cotton or polyester, but you won't get the benefits, the cooling benefits you would of wearing the underwear.
So the other thing that you see is people wearing the cool shirts.
Yes.
Okay, and you said to me before that there are some brands of that stuff that is fire retardant.
There is
some that aren't.
Correct. Cool Shirt themselves, which is a brand name,
yes,
that makes products. They make the pumps, they make the coolers. They make two versions of their shirts. They make an FR, which is fire rated. If you get a long sleeve version of it, it will carry an SFI 3.3 fire rating. They make a short sleeve version that is fire rated or fire retardant. It is not rated because the SFI doesn't allow short sleeve shirts.
Right.
It's still the same material. It will still serve the same function. It just will not carry an SFI 3.3 tag on it, whereas a long sleeve will. They make, on the other side of their business, they make those similar products. They make them for sidelines of football games. They make them for actors in hot costumes where they can plug in, cool them down without having to take the costume off. Those are most of the time made out of that same polyester compression type wet shirt that we talked about. They are sold through their website, not through their motorsports website, through their regular motorsports website. Everything plugs in the same, but they are not designed for racing applications, and they will cause serious damage.
So if you're wearing one of those and it's not fire rated,
you'll have the issue of not only will you have melting, you will have potential melting of the tubing carrying the water. Now you'll have even more water inside the suit, creating more steam, creating even worse burns.
So for those of you watching and listening to this, we're trying to be as clear about this as possible because, yes, okay, these companies and even HMS where we are, they do have brands of underwear that they sell. You notice we're not pushing particular brands here. There's a reason why you wear fireproof underwear.
There is, yes.
It is very valid. And, the folks at HMS are not just concerned with making sales. I mean, if you want to come in and talk to them about their brands and whatever, they're happy to do that. But this is about trying to keep racers safer.
Exactly.
And I have never understood the whole T-shirt under the fire suit thing. Even as a younger racing fan, that just seemed wrong because there's in a fire, you only get, 3, 5, 6 seconds with your fire suit to begin with.
You get 11. Most of them are about 11
now?
seconds. Yep.
Really, yeah. That's still not long. If
That's
you're
not
trying
a long
to get
time.
out of a car, especially if you're pinned in some way.
Exactly.
Without adding, the fact that you don't have any fireproof underwear, 4 or 5 seconds can make a big difference.
Absolutely. And it's if you look at from head to toe, you wouldn't go out on the racetrack with mechanics wear gloves on. You wear racing gloves. It's the same thing with shoes. You don't go out there in your sneakers. You go out there in fireproof, rated sneakers. Anything you put under the suit should be the same. It should be a motorsports grade, SFI or FIA rated socks, pants, undershirt, balaclava, all the way up.
You sell Walero brand.
Yes.
Is there anything about the Walero brand that's unique to that brand?
Yes. So we sell all of our apparel brands. OMP, Adidas, Alpine Stars all make a fireproof rated underwear. We do carry the Walero brand. It is out of the UK. It has a unique feature in that it has Outlast technology inside of it. So talking about driver comfort and driver heat, Outlast is a wax-covered substance that goes inside the fabric.
Okay.
It was developed by NASA for astronauts on spacewalks because astronauts on spacewalks go through very large heat cycles. When they're facing the sun, it's extremely hot. When they are away from the sun, it cools down very quickly. So they were going through these big peaks and valleys, hot, cold, hot, cold. NASA developed Outlast it uses the body's heat to melt the wax when you're hot, to pull the heat away from your body. And then when you start to cool back down, either naturally from the sweat, because that's how your body cools down by sweating off, now your body gets cold again, then it starts to heat up, and then it sweats, and then you go through this big cycle. Versus with the Outlast technology, that wax will then re-solidify and put heat back into your body. So it will help your body regulate itself so it doesn't go through these big heat cycles where it heats itself up, it sweats, it cools itself down too far, heats itself back up, cools itself back down. So we've used this. We've had a couple of our drivers use this across the board, wearing heart monitors, and they've run 4 or 5 hour cup races and have seen a pretty significant reduction in their average heart rate as well as their peak heart rate throughout the 4 or 5 hour race.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just from their body's ability the core of their body's ability to keep itself cold and not get into these overheat cycles where it's working too hard. It allows the driver to focus better. It allows them to stay cooler. And so that's a really unique feature to the Walero that we have brought in, and we're pretty excited about.
Okay, so if you're interested in that or in any type of fireproof garments, whether it's underwear or suits or whatever, just go to hmsmotorsport.com, and then you'll find the information, the phone numbers, and all of that to connect to either their Mooresville, North Carolina store where we are, or Danvers, Massachusetts if you're from the Northeast, or just give them a call and they'll be able to kind of help you get your gear sorted out. But even if you don't buy it from HMS, just, again, fireproof underwear, wear it, doggone it. We want to keep you safe. That's what we're all about here. We're going to step aside. Thank you, Billy Glavin, for jumping on board.
Thanks for coming out.
And we're going to make sure we mass share this over the holidays so you all get a chance to see it, and you can share it with your friends as well who are racers. We'll be back with more of the Stock Car Show. We've still got about 30 minutes left or so right after these words.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
You hear that? That's the sound of America's only sports car. That's right. It's a Corvette. But not just any Corvette. It's your Corvette. It's that who cares if there's traffic part of your day. And this can be you when you come to Cooper Corvettes. With 60 years of Corvettes to choose from, there's always a Corvette in your budget. And they'll service any Corvette you bring in. Cooper Corvettes on Route 1 just north of Quantico and Triangle. Call, click, or visit CooperCorvettes.com.
HMS Motorsport is the leader in motorsport safety. HMS serves the majority of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, IndyCar, and IMSA WeatherTech teams, as well as countless SCCA and club-level racers and driving enthusiasts throughout North America. Featuring world-renowned brands like Schuberth helmets, Schroep belts, Adidas suits and shoes, Lifeline fire systems, and even Racecom radio kits, HMS has the right product for your type of racing and your budget. Their representatives are experts on only one thing: making your track driving as safe as possible. With locations in Mooresville, North Carolina, and Danvers, Massachusetts, the HMS staff is always ready to take the time to help you find the right product for your safety needs. Don't settle for second when it comes to motorsport safety. Stop in to HMS Motorsport. Visit them on their website at hmsmotorsport.com or send them a message on Facebook and tell them the folks from PMN Radio sent you.
Hi, this is John Andrasik of Five for Fighting, here for RAD, the entertainment industry's voice for road safety. You know, style is a personal thing, and your lifestyle is your business. But if you take it on the road, it becomes everybody's business. So please, plan ahead, designate before you celebrate. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
A public service announcement brought to you by RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Cole Custer, and you're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Okay. Welcome back to the Stock Car Show presented by HMS Motorsport and mycomputercareer.edu. And by the way, y'all, if anyone is looking for a career change for next year, I got a big idea for you. It's
Go truck
called
racing.
IT. Yeah, go truck. I think the IT thing's cheaper, but if you've got the resources, join Tyler Ankrum on the track in the truck for next year. But here's the deal. You can become an IT professional in just 4 months with mycomputercareer.edu. They have 7 campuses across the country, or you can do it online. It takes just 2 to 3 times a week to get through everything that you need to and become an IT pro. And here's the cool deal about My Computer Career. This isn't just a school where you go take the course and you're on your own. They actually work with hundreds of employers who hire their students. So they're nationally accredited. Financial aid is available for those who qualify. And that includes the GI Bill. Classes are starting soon. So go check out mycomputercareer.edu and you can take a free career evaluation to see if that's what you want to do. mycomputercareer.edu. Go check it out. And they could get you on your way to a new career as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. And we really appreciate their support on this show.
Yes, Tyler's playing with the microphone, and the audience is hearing
with
that.
Mics. Yeah,
fun with mics.
It's different because I'm used to the whole headset, and you kind of sit there, and it was weird because you had to like sit very still because like the air would get you have the when somebody like breathes in the phone, where it's like that's horrible, and I always hate that. So I was always afraid like breathing on the mic. I'm kind of just sitting real still. So now we got this thing.
You just got
to
experiment with it.
Well, it's like those fidget spinners, you know.
See, he was trying to do his best Darth Vader impression a minute ago.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I am not your father.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so Tyler, what is the one track that you haven't raced on with the truck that you are most looking forward to attacking with the truck this year?
There's so many. Man, gosh dang, that's a hard question. I mean, you got Chicagoland, you got Michigan, you got Texas, Charlotte, Atlanta. Or they only raced Atlanta once, right? Yeah. Gosh dang.
Atlanta's race Atlanta, and you don't get to race Daytona at all, which Atlanta's probably eating at you.
I mean, you hold it wide open all the way around. How hard can it be? But
don't say that too loudly.
But I mean, I don't know. That's so hard. Gosh, if I had to pick one, just one. Oh man. I don't know. Because Atlanta is always one of my favorite tracks to watch on TV, and I've always thought Atlanta would be one of my best tracks because I feel like I've always been pretty good at being consistent and staying on the line like Harvick. Like they always talk about painting the line at Atlanta, because Harvick's one of the best guys out there that can do it, and I've always thought I've always been a pretty consistent racer. Like I'm not always driving with my hair on fire, but I've always been like pretty reserved and pretty. Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I'm only 17 years old, but yeah, I mean, or a thinker. So I mean, I feel like that always would have been one of my best tracks. So Atlanta for sure. But obviously, we won't be racing there this year, but 2020, yeah.
If you're not in Xfinity, by the way.
Right. Hopefully, I am right, or we'll just go race there in an Xfinity car. That'll work. I mean.
Yeah, sure. He's like, I don't care what I'm.
As long as I'm racing at
Atlanta racing in, just something.
Exactly. Yeah, for something. Or you should be like Natalie Decker, do trucks, Trans Am, sports cars, late model, everything. That's the way I want to be.
She's not doing sports cars, but if you can find a sports car to go race.
Yeah, dude. Like it's always been like Jeff Gordon did it, did the 24-hour, or Fernando Alonso did this year in the Cadillac. Yeah. That'd be so cool to do.
It's funny too because I just saw an article today that said that Jeff Gordon actually thought he was going to be a World of Outlaws sprint car racer. And,
well, that was the track he started down, and the whole NASCAR thing kind of came out of left field.
Yeah, it's just funny now to look all the way back to when he was 13 or 14 and imagine that was his career goal, and to see the span of what he's done since then that hasn't included any of it, actually.
It's funny because there's this racetrack in California called it's Bayland. It's in San Jose, California, Northern California. It's called Baylands, and I was racing quarter midgets there on the USAC tour, and I just got a track record in light B. For if anyone's familiar with a quarter midget, they'll know what a light B is.
Yeah.
But with this lady in the tower goes, "Hey Tyler, come here," because they don't do it anymore. But you see, every single pole you got a pole certificate, something you got in a frame. Well, there's a bunch of pole certificates in there, and there was one that said Jeff Gordon Light B, and I've been a Hendrick fan my whole life. You know, if Jimmy Johnson was out of the race, Jeff Gordon. Voting for Jeff Gordon was Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was Casey Kane or Martin Truex or Mark Martin. Like just
nice to know that Junior was third on the total.
Yeah, sorry, but
you're probably the only one.
Yeah, right.
Gordon and Johnson fans that would put Junior third.
Yeah, right. I'm sorry, Junior. If you're, I don't know if you're listening or not, but
have you on this podcast.
Yeah, dude. With the Dirty Mo podcast. I saw the setup one time on NASCAR NBC. That looks like a really cool setup, like just a bunch of like big giant long couch, and they just sit there and have a few Capri Suns, but you know that's I don't know. It's been I don't know what I want to do. It's with Atlanta, and there's so many cool tracks. Like I don't know.
You're just gonna be happy to be there.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing. He's the fan that managed to land a full-time ride in racing.
Managed, exactly. That's underline, triple underline. Managed.
Managed. So I feel like it's legitimately what Tom just said. This whole upcoming year is literally Tyler Ankrum. I'm just happy to be here.
Exactly. That is 100% the way. I mean, I feel like we proved that we can be there, especially after Phoenix. Maybe not as much as Martinsville. Martinsville was just a frustrating weekend altogether because of the rain. We definitely would have had a better shot if it hadn't rained. Just work on the truck. Yeah, it was. It was really bad. But I mean, the Cup race was really good. But
it was
fantastic. You had all that controversy between Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., but not a whole lot in the trucks. The truck race was pretty much dominated by Johnny Sauter. But yeah, it was just a mess all weekend. But for us too, we struggled really bad. We actually really needed like a whole shock or spring or something change for our weekend to go any better. Because we didn't know what to put in the car, or truck I should say. So we didn't put anything. So we really just had to run what you brung. So that's what we did, and didn't end up too well in 18th, but 6th at Phoenix gave us a ton of confidence. I think we were as high as 3rd or 4th one time on that final restart. Ended up getting shuffled back with all that oil on the track. Our tires just got too cold and too hard on that red flag, and just got too tight at the end.
Okay, we have a question from our video producer, Cisco Scaramouza, wants to know, what were you up to while Tony Stevens and he were hiding under the roof at the All-American 400 when it was raining? There's got to be a story there. I think we need to tell that one.
What was I doing? I don't even really remember. Oh, yeah.
I think Cisco does, and I think he wants to.
I don't remember. What was I doing? I don't remember.
Stump the Ankrum.
You thought you remembered, and then you forgot again.
No, I don't remember. I remember. What was I doing?
Cisco, you stumped the Ankrum.
Yeah, I have. I remember going back and forth between the motorhome lot and the hauler. I remember eating a lot. Mom made some fantastic crock pot spaghetti that day.
Oh,
it was awesome. And she had like this Italian sausage inside. Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, right. Everyone comes to our pit. The Wallaces come to our pit. Who else comes to our pit? Dilbeck was at our pit all weekend. The PFC. Yeah, he was at our pit all weekend. We have the snacks. So, man, Cisco, you gotta tell me. Like, I
guess he didn't know. He was curious.
No, I didn't know. I was just curious. Also, the reason why I'm not talking is because I sound horrible.
A little under the weather here.
Yeah, thanks, PRI.
Yeah.
Feel better, Cisco.
Yeah,
right. Get rid of that PRI flu.
The good news is, though, you graduated, didn't you, Cisco?
Yes, I did. That was this past weekend, which I was also sick for, which was great.
Now a Ball State graduate.
No, Butler.
Butler graduate.
Fail, Tom.
Yeah, I had
you
the right
fail.
first letter. Ball State was David Letterman. Butler graduate. Congratulations on that, Cisco. We're very proud of you for that. We'll let you go back to being silent and trying to save the boys. But yeah, Tyler, so when you think about running trucks and you look around and you realize you're at DGR still, you talked about it earlier in the comfort that you have, but you really just, I mean, you have been so blessed because it's almost like I'm going into a new series and all this new stuff is happening, but I'm with the same old people.
It's really nice because, like, you going back to the comfortability thing, you know, just having the, it's not even really comfortability, but it's familiarity.
Yeah.
It's just not going between, because, you know, going between you starting off with DGR, it was tough, but it was an easy transition because all the guys over there are so great. Well, I don't have this transition anymore. The only thing I got to learn is the truck. I don't have to learn the people. The crew chief, my crew chief, Seth Smith, won the K&N championship with me.
He's going to ask you if you were going to get Seth next year.
Seth will be my crew chief next year, I believe.
Awesome.
And I think it'll be really great because me and Seth are such a good pair together anyways, because we pretty much have a lot of the same personality. Like
yes, you do.
Like he's really not a guy he's not real flamboyant. He's quieter. He's more methodical.
Yeah, you're both
and
very serious and mature about
yeah,
what you're doing.
and
You're all business.
and in my mind, he's I don't know how. I hope he advances in his career, or hopefully we advance together. I think that'd be awesome because I really think Seth has what it takes. He's super organized. He was almost every single weekend we raced. My car was the first car loaded and ready to roll. He was hardly ever late, and he stayed late. He worked on the weekends. Whenever off weekend we had, he worked all day Sunday to get a car ready to go do something else, just so he can work less during the week. So Seth's super hard work. His work ethic is really what impresses me most about Seth, is because Seth showed me what it means to really be a man out at the racetrack, away from the racetrack, at a job, and you know, do it with a professionality that I've never really seen before. Now, obviously, I've seen it with Blake Bainbridge as my Super Late Model crew chief and Clay Rogers, but that was just on the Super Late Model level. How, you know, like I love Super Late Model racing, but you know, how professional can you be on the Super Late Model level? When you got, I mean, I love Bubba Pollard, hashtag Redneck Jesus. I'm with you, but you know,
that's a thing, Tom. Seriously.
Right, Redneck Jesus, yeah.
I know.
Honestly, when you go down to Pensacola, Florida, he's walking on water. You know, I mean, Pensacola. Yeah, Pensacola. We have a joke at Tyler Racing. It's the submarine 400 now because it's underwater every single year. It's the submarine 400. So, you know, having all those people around me. Blake was there. He's my number 2 guy all year. He did my Super Late Model stuff and my K&N stuff. So having Blake and Seth is almost, because Blake's crew chief, Cup cars, Busch cars, trucks, and he was a driver too once. He made it all the way to the truck level at one point in time. And Clay went all the way. He was a test driver in the Cup Series. He was a Busch driver and a truck driver. So having guys like that worked with me pretty much every single weekend, they followed me everywhere, was very huge. Not only to have Seth, Sam, Jeremy, Chris, and David. For me, having even my Super Late Model guys with me every single weekend, almost every single weekend, helped as well because they already knew that the guys at DGR as well. And not only that, you know, Seth being a new crew chief with me, Seth had no idea who I was going to be. He didn't know if I was going to be some prima donna from Colton, California, who all did was whine all day and didn't really put any work ethic in it. But me and Seth clicked. It was like right after New Smyrna, when we came from the back twice. He looked at me and he patted me on the shoulder. He goes, "Man, if you drive like that every single weekend, this is going to be a great year." And it's been off from there.
Did he know?
Right,
exactly.
Hey, our lightning round's next.
It is
next.
Guess
what?
What?
I have breaking news.
Uh-oh. All right. Well, we got to go to break.
I know.
So thank you, Tyler Ankrum, for spending almost the entire show with us. In fact, if you want to hang around for the lightning round, we'll get you to do that too. We'll bring Allie in. We'll just have an interesting time. We'll get your breaking news in a moment. Breaking news after this on the Stock Car Show.
When do you think of a plumber? Like most people, even if it's an emergency, you can be confident about who will arrive to help you. For quality and reliability, count on someone you can trust. Call on the plumbing services of Hague Quality Water of Maryland. Plumbing doesn't have to be an emergency. We handle all kinds of preventative maintenance too. Hague Quality Water of Maryland is family-owned here in Annapolis since 1993. For a refreshing choice, call us at 888-84-WATER or visit us online.
Here at Lewis Meineke, we're more than just your average car care center. Hey, it's Dave, your neighbor from Lewis Meineke. Whether you need an oil change, brakes, tires, or anything under the hood, we've got you covered. Take advantage of our free check engine light service as well. Yes, free. And don't forget about our free shuttle service. Never stress, we'll take care of the rest. On with life. Give us a call at Lewis Meineke, 302-827-2054.
Is your job sucking the life out of you? Wake up. You can do something else. Information technology. I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a math and science person. No problem and no excuses, because it's not rocket science. It's My Computer Career. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. mycomputercareer.edu. That's mycomputercareer.edu.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
I'm Kaz Gralla, and you're listening to Race Talk on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Well, we started the show with Kaz Gralla, and we're
ending the show.
Basically ending the show with a Kaz Gralla re-entry. So we are back on the Stock Car Show, presented by HMS Motorsport and My Computer Career. Tom Baker with Jacob Seelman and Allie Boulay and
who's been
Tyler
so
Ankrum.
patient
Yeah,
tonight.
Allie has been very patient. We have some breaking news to start our lightning round with, and we are going to bring Allie into this for her opinion in a minute. But Jacob,
yeah,
I'll let
we might
you...
have to let Tyler or have Tyler let.
I'll share with
Oh,
Allie.
you'll share with Allie.
We're going to actually share.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, so go ahead, Jacob. What's your breaking news?
Breaking news: Corey LaJoie has signed to drive the Go Fast Racing number 32 Ford in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series next year. There will be a press conference on Thursday at the NASCAR Hall of Fame at 11 a.m. to announce that officially, but it was broken just a little while ago by Adam Stern at the Sports Business Journal, and I've since been able to confirm the news through various sources as well as this show has continued.
Ellie, your thoughts on that? What do you think about Corey getting a shot?
I can't say what I want to say, but it's about time.
I think he said
family
enough
friendly.
Family
Yes.
friendly.
Family friendly. It's about time. Very proud of the kid. Just proud of him. It's good for him.
Tom, as Allie said, it's very overdue, but Corey's one of those that, much like a Daniel Hemrick or even Alex Bowman, he has so paid his dues and
I agree.
suffered through a couple years of mediocre to bad, I'll call a spade, equipment to get even a shot in better equipment than what he's been in. And Matt DiBenedetto proved that the Go Fast equipment is not terrible equipment in the right circumstances. They've had some improved technological alliances this year. Matt scored a couple of top 10s in that 32 car, including one in the Daytona 500 and one in the Brickyard 400. So in the right circumstances and with the right driver, that team can have some success. And Corey LaJoie is a very scrappy race car driver. He always has been, Tom. He's not been afraid to be aggressive when he needs to be, but he also takes care of the car, and that's going to be important in this
Corey
scenario.
is an old-fashioned race car driver.
Yes, I like that
description.
description.
Throwback to his dad is what he is.
I was actually about to say that he's very much a throwback to his dad. He's,
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Randy the way he races, and I think Corey's going to do well in that. And here again, an opportunity for him to actually step up a little bit, and maybe I feel like some of those types of rides, and we saw this with DiBenedetto, Go Fast is a good example of what I call a showcase car.
Yes.
The front row cars for me are kind of like that too. We see Matt Tifft going there. They're not cars that you're going to chase wins with, but they're cars that if you can show consistently that you can get everything out of them.
Yes, absolutely.
They're respectable enough situations where it might propel you to a
They're
to a
also
bigger
cars to where if you end up in the big one, a lot of times they're not the ones that are in that big one. They're the ones they play safe. They hang in the back. Yeah, they're the MIG Packers, but they're also the ones where it could turn out to be a Cinderella story. I mean, front row that one year, Chris Buescher, granted it was a rain delay win, but he still got a win.
And not just that, but even
David
the
Reagan
win at Talladega.
David Reagan win in Talladega. I mean,
absolutely.
And he had your car owner pushing him. David Gilliland.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, who was driving for front row. I think that is a phenomenal opportunity for Corey, and I'm very excited for him. That'll be a lot of fun, and I guess that answers the question. I know, Jacob, you and I were wondering, would Go Fast Racing stay in the Ford family at one point? I guess that probably answers that question.
Absolutely.
Sounds like
I
it's
would
gonna
say
remain Ford,
because
so.
Corey, Corey was in the Ford family too this year with TriStar, I believe.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
yep.
And just to be fair, I said Ford because that's what they ran this year, but it sounds like that's going to remain the same, at least by all indications I've seen on social media.
It'll be very interesting to see where that goes. Okay, so I want to take us now because we're getting closer to the holidays. So I'm going to do a little poll here, and we can kind of go around the table with this. Your favorite Christmas gift of all time
that we've received,
that you've gotten? Yeah, what would be the favorite Christmas gift of all time?
Don't go to me first. I actually have to think.
Okay,
wow.
I'll start. I got one of the things when I was little. We had a hill next to a gas station across from our house, and so I was really, really excited about getting one of those red toboggan kind of things that you can, because we always used to have I don't even know what they were made out of, but they were more, bendable or whatever. When I finally got the red kind of boat-like toboggan, that was the coolest thing, and I probably wore that slap out. So I think that, for me, that probably was if it wasn't my favorite of all time, that was the first thing I thought of when I was pondering the question. Tyler?
Favorite Christmas gift, I would say it'd probably be my first quarter midget. Eighth Christmas.
Okay.
Eighth Christmas, I got my very first quarter midget. If not, I have a really cool 44 caliber saddle rifle. It's an old Henry repeater. That's really cool to shoot.
Opposite end.
Yeah, really.
But the quarter midget is really what put all this in motion. So that butterfly effect.
That was a Christmas gift?
Yeah, it was a Christmas gift, 8th birthday, and then I think my very first, I know for a fact, my very first race was on my 9th birthday, and so we kind of practiced / test for about 2 or 3 months, and my very first race was my 9th birthday. So
nice.
Yeah.
Jacob?
So I think I finally have come up with some sort of an answer here for this. Actually, I can call it a Christmas gift because it wasn't actually given to me until Christmas. It came into our possession actually at a school raffle. But see, and not many people know this, but I still have a go-kart in my dad's garage that once upon a time I thought I was going to be brave and attempt to race, and I was terrible and washed out and only ever take it out. There's a little paved track out back on my dad's property that I'll still take it out when I really get bored.
Yeah.
But no, that it was a school raffle that was how we ended up winning the kart, but it wasn't given to me until Christmas. So that counts as far as I'm concerned.
That's awesome.
But we did up the graphics on it just like the old 55 cars that my grandparents used to field in the Cup Series back in the day. So that one's going to be always special for me.
Very nice, Allie.
So this is actually going to be showing my age. So it was either my 12th or 13th Christmas. I had originally wanted Tickle Me Elmo. I got so mad because my mom got Tickle Me Elmo and I didn't. And then the last present that I opened, my parents handed me a card. And I'm like, why am I getting a card? Inside of it was a letter that said, "You're going to Disney." So going to Disney, and my dad's like, "So you still want that Tickle Me Elmo?" I was like, "Heck no, I'm going to Disney." Just like how, oh, you just won the Super Bowl. Where are you going now? I'm going to Disney.
That's
so
awesome. Okay.
That would probably be my favorite Christmas present of all time.
I want to leave you out here real quick.
Yeah, so real quick, probably best Christmas gift I ever received was a Driving Force GT, which was the first wheel I ever had, which allowed me to start sim racing and eventually find Jacob. But a quick tangent, which is better than that story, is on what Jacob said about his go-kart being painted up like the 55. I had no idea. That's also the car that my friend Austin Coop and I painted up to run in the throwback race last year for the series that Jacob used to call on iRacing. We had no idea that even lined up, but that was a lot of fun last year, and we got to debut it to him.
Okay, and the other gift I thought of I got at Christmas was Pong. I got my first video game.
Jeez.
And Pong, I wish I had that back. It's still the ultimate video game. Jacob, close us out, man.
All right, so thanks to Joe Marco and all the staff at HMS Motorsport for loaning us the conference room one more time this season, as well as the folks at My Computer Career for what they do to make this show possible. Bob Steele, Sue Mason, all the folks at the Performance Motorsports Network, for Randy Miller behind the glass, as well as Cisco Scaramuza, Ali Boulay, Tom Baker, our special guests tonight, Tyler Ankrum, Natalie Decker, Kaz Gralla. I'm Jacob Seelman. Keep it off the wall, folks, and if you're headed to a racetrack somewhere, we might just see you there. Have a safe racing weekend and holiday season. Good night.
You've been listening to the Stock Car Show on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned to Performance Motorsports Network for more race talk. For the latest motorsports news, visit RaceChaserOnline.com. The Stock Car Show is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. www.performancemotorsportsnetwork.com. A member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. Check out our Facebook page or our section on the PMN website. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or the marketing partners. Be listening again next week when the Stock Car Show returns on Thursday night at 7 Eastern. Until then, stay tuned for more great motorsports programming on the Performance Motorsports Network.